Hello, ECE 240, and welcome to our final 2 weeks being together. It's been a interesting semester, a little bit of a crazy semester, but I want to thank all of you for adapting, making the changes, continuing to work hard, learn the content, think about what you're learning, and connecting that to the real world. And I want to thank you. It shows how resilient you are. And because of that, that's how life is sometimes. Life comes at us, and there are things that are out of our control. And how do we adapt to that and always look at the glass half full, stay positive, create environments and things that we can do so our stress can stay low and we can be healthy for ourselves. And when we are healthy for ourselves and we take those mental breaks, we can be healthy for others and we can support others. And that's the connection I want to make about this week. This week, we actually break down the book in its last two chapters. Chapter 16 on schools and achievement, and chapter 17 on culture and diversity. What you have for these 2 weeks is that I break down the two chapters just like I did last time when we had two chapters. Your quiz, chapter 17, is due on Sunday, so you do not have a quiz on two chapters, only on chapter 17, and that is due on Sunday. Your question of the week, which is children's education, is actually extra credit. You've completed all of your questions this semester. So if you want to do that question to get extra credit, you have to post and also respond to a classmate. That way you can get 15 points extra credit. And your extra credit question discussion of the week is 15 points extra credit. So take advantage of that extra credit opportunity that you have. But your quiz, once again, your quiz is not extra credit. Your quiz is part of your 800 points. So please do the quiz, and that way you're giving yourself the optimal way to receive the best grade in the class, and how hard you have worked to get that best grade in the class. Before I get into this content of this week, I also want to talk about the final. So you have this week, and then next week is final week. Okay. So what you do when you go to our weekly assignments, you're in week chapter 16 and 17. And then right below that is final exam. You will see the final exam is due on May 13th, right before midnight. Actually, our class ends on that Tuesday, 5/12. So I'm giving you one full extra day to complete your final exam. The final exam is just like your midterm. You have small essay questions that you need to answer. And I want to share this around your final. Please, please take the time to answer every question thoroughly. Please do not provide an answer that has only one or two sentences. You will not receive full credit for providing an answer that's only one or two sentences. Please take the time to show me everything you know. This is an open book exam. Take advantage of the book. Take advantage of all the resources that I've given you this semester to really thrive and do well on your final exam. When you open the final exam, which I'm opening right now to go over with you, you will see there are 15 questions. And out of those 15 questions, we start just at chapter 7. Okay, so the first question is on chapter 7, so you'll have to go back to your notes and answer that. And then after that, there are 15 questions. The last question, number 15, is extra credit once again. Okay, so there's two opportunities now before the semester ends to do extra credit. This week for your discussion, your post, your conversation, and then next week your final has actually two parts to do extra credit. So here's how you get extra credit. You can do the last question, number 15, which talks about the top 5 things you've learned this semester. And what's critical for you to get those 5 points is to share how those 5 things have changed your life, how they've changed your behaviors, and how you're going to interact with others. And then the other way you can get an additional 5 points, so you have a total of 10 points extra credit you can get, is if you turn in your final on Tuesday. That's right, on Tuesday, you will be able to receive an additional 5 points, okay? It is due on Wednesday. You can turn it in on Wednesday. That's perfectly fine. You get 1 full extra day to turn in your final. But if you turn in your final on Tuesday, when it should be due, you'll get an additional 5 points. If you turn it on Wednesday, that's fine. You just won't get those additional 5 points, but you still have the opportunity to do the 5 points on question number 15. So there are an additional 10 points that you can get on your final, okay? So that's the final exam, 15 questions. Please take the time to answer them thoroughly. All of the information, the majority of the information is everything that we've done in class, and some of them you're going to have to go back to your reading or some of the handouts that I provided you to really develop a strong answer for that question. So that's it. Once again, you have a final. The final is 15 questions. Please answer those questions. It is due on the 13th of May. I will not accept any late finals. I'm giving you 1 full extra day to do it, okay? If you turn in early, you get an additional 5 extra credit points, and then you have on the 13th when it's due. So please take your time, spread it out, so that you can successfully shine and do well on your final, okay? Alrighty, well, let's go into this week, which is all the way at the bottom. Week 16, chapter 16 and 17, okay? One of the things I want to talk about when it comes to children's education, there's been a strong connection that when educators have very high expectations for their students are going to rise to that challenge. If we believe that our students can be successful, if we take the time to understand what we're teaching them and do it in a way that supports the individual children in our classroom, and then we build high expectations for those students, the students will thrive and do better than if you're an educator and you say, well, I really don't think that Rudy can do well. I don't think he's college material. When we have that type of feeling, or expectation is a key word for a child, they won't rise up. And actually, we are doing a very poor job to supporting that children or that child to reach their fullest potential. So what I have for you is a very inspiring video that is by Rita Pearson on the importance of relationships and having high expectations. And we'll talk a little bit about that video towards the end of this video here. And then I have some more videos for you to watch that I think are very critical to understanding our education system and how it works. When it comes to special education, you can go back no more than around 50 years, and our special education program has totally changed within our nation, state, and here locally in Yuma. So I want you to watch the first video that talks about the IDEA Act, IDEA, and it's a great video that shows you how far we have come as a country to serve children with special needs. In the book, it really gets into how do we identify and what is a child with special needs. So I think it's important for you to watch that video. I also have a great video for you to talk about our federal program that's called Head Start. And it's a great video that shows you the history of Head Start, what we have for preschool in our nation. And I want you to take the time to learn how early childhood is part of our education system. just not at a local level, state level, but at a federal level. One of the, I would say, disappointing things is that every child in Yuma County has a seat, has a classroom to go to for elementary school, for kindergarten. And did you know, by law, the first grade a child has to go to is not even kindergarten, it's first grade. We as a state only receive, the state only gives our local school districts half the funding for kindergarten, which means that legally we only get funding for half-day kindergarten in our nation. Now, you and I have talked about how important those first 5 years of life are, and here we are only getting 50% of the money needed for kindergarten. So by law, we only get half the funding needed for kindergarten, and if districts are offering full-day kindergarten, the districts need to find how they're going to use or find other dollars or other budgets to make up that other 50%. Think about that. Also think about when it comes to preschool programs. If you look at the data in Yuma, some of the data shows that only a third of our children are in a preschool classroom. Now, once again, we've shared and we've talked about how critical and important the first 5 years of life are. And when you think about the funding that we get in the state and we also get in this nation for those specific age groups, and you're talking about in kindergarten, 50% less, and then you're talking about in preschool, only 1/3 of children actually are in a preschool classroom. It seems like we have a huge problem. And I think that is a direct relationship of why our literacy scores are so low in Yuma County and around this nation. It is because we're not giving enough resources to our youngest children. And the sad thing is our youngest children can't even vote to say, yes, we need more dollars. That's where you, the champions of children, come in and say, with my vote, how do I get involved? How do I get engaged and ensure that our children are receiving the highest quality education, and more importantly, they have access to quality programs in our community? That's what I really wanted to share with you. We've learned the importance of 80-90, but yet, with 80% of brain development happening by age 3 and 90% by age 5, those children, the children that live right here in Yuma County, 2/3 of them don't even have the access to support that brain development because they're not even in a high quality preschool program. The state does not provide any funding for state preschool. We have additional programs like First Things First. We have Head Start that is federal funds that support. And a lot of our programs that we have in the region, it's really people looking at how to take different funding sources to create preschool programs within our region. And if you think about preschool, the majority of people in our region, if their child's in preschool, it's because they're paying for it. Here's some last information that I want to give you around the importance of what's happening in the reality of preschool education in our community. Did you know that for most families in Yuma County, it costs more for them to enroll their child in preschool than it costs for a family to enroll a student into Arizona Western College? Yes, it is more expensive to send your child to preschool than it is to send your student to AWC. Now, what I think is funny and interesting, here it costs more to send your child to preschool, but the individual that has the higher qualifications is that professor at AWC. To be a professor at AWC, you need your master's. And for many preschool educators, all you need is your CDA, your associates, and there's been a big push from Head Start and other programs that are professionals, and preschool programs also need their BA. But what I find kind of strange and weird, it costs more to put your child in preschool, but yet the individual who's teaching college is actually getting paid more. I want to give you all this information to really think about how the dots don't line up and how they don't connect sometimes in our education system. And so I wanted to give you this information to make you think and think about what are things that you can do to support our youngest children in this country. Another video that I have for you to watch is on Geoffrey Canada. He's done some really innovative work of how do we get children who are living in poverty and how do we support them to be successful in their academic careers. And this is a great video that shows how we can transform communities by making the education system a top priority, and how the education system can then work with other community partners to give the hope, to give the ganas, the will that our students all the way from preschool, all the way from when parents have their baby, are put in programs that are working together to give them a pathway to college and university, to give them the hope, the dream that our children can achieve ultimate success if they choose to go to college, if they choose to go to university. It's a choice, but for many of our children who are living in lower income regions within our nation, don't even have the choice to go to college because their grades do not allow them to have that choice. So he does a really good job. It's a really good video that I really want you to watch. And so the other two videos that are there, if you want to watch at your leisure, you may. But the Celebrating 40 Years of IDEA gives you a really good, strong understanding of how far we come as a nation when it comes to special education. Head Start's history is another great video that really breaks it down of why Head Start is so important to our nation, but also the evolution of Head Start. And then number 3, I want to give you some very great information of how what Canada is doing in the Harlem zone and the information that's happening there. Why aren't we doing more of that in Yuma County? I want you to think about that. And how can we as a community come together to put our children first and put them on a roadmap, on a pathway where we can have more, not more, but every single child having a pathway to high quality education, and through that pathway, being able to enter our universities and colleges to receive the opportunity to make a good living, to be a citizen that is providing back to our community. How do we give that hope and dream to every single child here in Yuma County? So I just wanted to give you some of those examples there, okay? And I think the work that Geoffrey Canada is doing really talks about poverty, really does a really good job of what we can do to battle poverty. And actually, when you think about Head Start was totally aligned as a way to battle poverty, and that through generational change, our children, maybe their parents were living in poverty because they got a high quality early childhood education, they would be that the individual that transforms their family for no longer being in poverty by that one intervention called Head Start, which is a high quality preschool program. So I think it's important for you to watch those videos. This week you have your question of the week, which once again, your question of the week is extra credit. And then your quiz is not. You must do your quiz by Sunday, okay? Before we end this semester, I just want to take the time to share with you some final thoughts that I think as you watch the video of Rita Pierson, there's a strong reason why I share the video of Rita Pierson. And so I want to give you a little bit of some final words and final thoughts. You learned a lot this semester, and I can have you sit down and say, what are those top 5 things that you've learned this semester, and how have they changed your life? I know all of you have learned a lot this semester. I've seen it in your work. I've seen it in the discussions you've posted. I've seen it in your observations. Here's one foundational piece that I hope you holds true in your heart and that you take with you as you leave this semester. Number one, everything, the foundation of ultimate success comes down to positive relationships. If we want our children to succeed in life, we need to take the time to have a positive relationship with them, to give them the time to read to them, to give them the time to make them think, to give them memories that will last a lifetime, that will build those connections to allow them to thrive and ultimately be happy. We need those connections. We need those relationships. Every single child needs at least one champion in their life. Harvard University says that for a child to have better outcomes, they need at least one adult who will support them, love them, care for them, be that champion. And this is the challenge that I give you now. With everything you've learned this semester, you now have all the tools to be that champion. This is why I teach this class. It's about changing lives. Through this class, you've learned information that has now empowered you to change your life, but also the life of others. You can change someone else's life by simply saying, with the information that I have this semester, how will I use it out in the real world? And it doesn't have to go far. How will you use it with your family? If you are going to be one that works as a nurse or a teacher or a social worker, how are you going to empower having positive relationships with those you work with? That's right. Sometimes we spend more time at work than we even do at home. So having those positive relationships at work allows people to be successful. I know this as a supervisor in our community. When I have happy employees, I have employees who will give it their all, who will go beyond the expectation, and will succeed. But I'm very intentional with setting up a relationship, a positive relationship with my coworkers to ensure that we're all happy, that we're all together, that we're all a team. So being a champion can start at home with your own children, your own nephews, your own nieces, those that you provide service to, those who are in your work environment, and simply being that nice champion when you're at the store. A neighbor. You have the power to really change this world. And you're thinking, wow, the world? Yes, we can change the world one person at a time. You have the skills, you have the information to be able to do this out in the real world. That's my challenge to you. That's why I teach this class. I teach this class not because you memorize everything that Piaget has created or Vygotsky. It's not that. Yes, that's all critical information. I teach this class because I have the ability then to support the students that I have every semester to be those leaders to change our community, one child and one person at a time. That's my challenge to you. Please take the time to watch the videos. Really take the time to watch Rita Pierson. She inspires me, and I know her story will also inspire you. I want to say thank you for a wonderful semester. I know it's not the semester we have planned with all the changes, but thank you for being resilient. Thank you for being awesome. I also want to let you know that just because we're not going to continue having this class anymore doesn't mean that I'm still not here to support you. If you ever need any support as you move up in your career, in your education, please, you know my email address, you know how to get a hold of me. I'm here to support you. I'm here to help you. You are now part of that ECE 240 family through my class. And I have many relationships with previous students who are now teachers, special ed teachers, psychologists, physical therapists, nurses in the region. And whatever I can do to help you, please know that's what I'm here to do. And even if I don't have the answer, I don't know it all. We all don't know all the answers. But it could be one phone call away that I can have someone else help you, that I can refer you to someone else or refer you to an agency. Once again, ECE 240, thank you. Thank you for a great semester. I wish all of you the best, not just in your educational career, but in your life. And I know your life can be that much more powerful, meaningful, because of everything that you're learning, just not in my class, but everything that you're learning here at AWC. Continue after your dreams. Continue doing the work that some might not do. But because you're doing it, because you're putting yourself in that position, you're giving yourself the opportunity not just to acquire your dreams, but also to motivate and inspire others to be better, to build their capacity. And that's what it's all about us giving back. But we need to grow those skills as we have the power to do that. Thank you once again for a great semester. I look forward to being there in your future if needed. And once again, take care, my friends. Have a wonderful last week here in our class. And then next week is your final week. If you have any questions around your final, around the information that you're receiving, please feel free to email me. And once again, if I can be of any support in the future, please let me know. Please contact me, and I will do my best, give it my all, my 1000% to support you to accomplish whatever it is that you want to do. Take care, ECE 240, and thank you for a great semester. Bye.